The Dublin Horse Show, one of the biggest events of the year, took place over the weekend at the RDS in Dublin.
Never felt a struggle. She just was focused and she was everything you'd want in a Grand Prix horse today.
Horseport Ireland was there and got the chance to chat to lots of amazing people from around the equestrian community.
This is my first year in the internationals. That's a different gravy. The atmosphere, like you can feel it, the horse can feel it. Yeah, it's something that I really enjoy, but it's another step up.
Riding for your team or the Team Ireland is the biggest thing, you know.
We've got a lot of really, really nice animals this year, and my job is to get a relationship now with the owners and the riders that we can convince the owners to keep the horses so that the senior manager can pick championship teams that are successful in the future.
We're delighted to bring you the best of these conversations now. Welcome to the Horseport Ireland Dublin Horse Show special. So I've just been joined by Tiffrary's own Denis Lynch here at the Dublin Horse Show again. You've had a good season to date, Denis.
Absolutely, Melanie. It's great to be part of Aga Khan on Friday. It's kind of something we set our goals in the beginning of the year to try and target certain places like championships, Acton, definitely Dublin at home. And so it's great to be here. And the season has been very good up to now.
Yeah, I mean, you were pathfinder on Vista Grand. Do you enjoy going in as that role, number one for the team?
Yeah, it's something I've done a lot through the years, and I don't really mind it. And he's obviously a good seasoned horse, and I have a little bit of experience myself. So, that's it's never been an issue.
And when you come out, I guess being pathfinder, they're relying on you for feedback. What sort of information are you bringing back to especially in this case, we had two sort of slightly younger riders following you into the ring?
What rode very short for me was a treble, and I said that, and that's actually where my mistake happened at the water. I was so short out. He went out a bit and left of me, which I should have really landed and moved up on the 8. In the end, I boxed off on 9, and he had a heel on the water, so then I could give the lads that information. And and then they know what to do then, you know, or the guys are on, like Jerry would be there, or Keen on the ground, or Jerry, or whoever, you know, and just try and give them as good as best information as possible, you know.
Yeah, I guess the team environment is a different one. I mean, on a day-to-day basis, you guys are generally out competing on your own. Do you enjoy coming into that team atmosphere?
Absolutely. It's probably something I take great pride in. First of all, representing my country. And riding for your team or the Team Ireland is the biggest thing, you know.
Yeah.
For me anyway, it always has been and always will be.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And it's, as I say, we're back here in Dublin Horse Show, and I mean, the crowds were incredible there on Friday. They always are on Aga Khan Day. There was a particular sweet moment of you giving your helmet to a young guy in the crowd afterwards that's gone down particularly well.
Yes, had some feedback on that. But it all started with actually the ribbon. One of the young boys said if I give him the ribbon, which I did, and the other young guy rode out, said, any chance of getting your helmet? And I felt, okay, why not? That's something I've never done, and probably it's not something that I don't know if it has been done.
Yeah.
So,
Look, all a bit of fun, and in the moment, it's gone down a treat, and you've made a few kids very happy. I guess you've got a good team of horses both here and at home. What's the sort of next couple of weeks look like for you, or where are you heading?
It's normally every kind of weekend. If we're not at a 5-star event, we're at maybe something smaller, developing the next horse to come through. So for us, I'm contracted and committed also with New York Empire. So we've some Global Champions Tour events coming up. We still have Barcelona. We have obviously Saint-Tropez, League of Nations, there's Calgary. There's a lot going on. So you try and have your next or have them horses as fit as possible so that we can hopefully represent Ireland again. Yeah,
absolutely. And I guess obviously looking forward then to the World Equestrian Championships next year. I'm sure that's kind of somewhere in your mind.
Absolutely. That is a major goal, because it's the first qualification for the Olympics, and which was part of in 2022. When we got our qualification, we finished 4th, unluckily to finish 4th in Herning.
Yeah.
And it's very, very important that if you can get it done in Aachen, that would be great. So yeah, focus is definitely on that already.
Absolutely. And I suppose aside from the competitive side, you've been involved with sort of the breeding side and stallions of late.
Yeah, there's something that always interests me, and probably started maybe even back 20 years ago, and then definitely when I was riding All-Star around 2010, 11 and 12, and it's something I've always been very, very passionate about. And he ended up a great stallion in the competitions, and also he's been very good also now with his breeding, as we retired him in breeding, and that's something that really interests me. And I always say if we can try and improve the breed somewhat, and if I could have any small impact on it, especially with my experience with riding, and it's something I've, like I said, always been incredibly passionate about.
I think, and it's an interesting side, I guess, from, as you've said, you've ridden all sorts of shapes and sizes of horses and breeds, etc. You probably know what you like in the ring, or also there's the side of what's successful in the ring.
1,000%. Like I think it's very, very important, like especially with when you're picking stallions, we should say as classical as possible. Real classical stallions. I see the ones that compete in Aachen and Calgary and Dublin here. These classical Grand Prix and Nations Cups, and stallions that do that successfully over a period of time would be, a real flagship horses, I see anyway. And obviously, we're always interested in using somewhat young stallions, but something more proven. There's probably more indication of hopefully how he then will breed or pass his genes on. So
trying to strike the balance between the two.
1,000%. Yes, it's very, very important.
I guess another side that, as sort of probably a relatively new role, you were involved with the selection panel for the youths at the recent European Championships. That's sort of a new role for you. What's that been like?
I was approached from Horseport Ireland, obviously voluntarily, if I would have a bit of time. I think they just wanted another view or perspective, which seemed to, in the end, as they won the gold medal, quite valuable. And I enjoy that anyway. It also riding in teams with younger riders, and if I can give them any tips or so on, I think that's always helpful. And I enjoyed it very much, and especially when they won.
Yeah.
And it was, who knows, hopefully I can ride a few more years, and who knows, in the next 10 or 15 years, maybe one day.
Yeah. You might step a bit more into that sort of role.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, look, it's as you said, we'll keep you on the horses for another little while, hopefully, but it's definitely something for the future. Denis, thank you so much for your time, and best of luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you too.
Live from the 2025 Dublin Horse Show, this is the Horse Sport Ireland podcast.
So, Debbie Byrne, eventing team manager for the World Breeding Championships in Le Lyon this year. You've managed high performance teams in the past before. Are you excited to step into this role with sort of a different pathway?
Yeah, it's very different from what I've done before, working with the underage squads and now working with the senior riders. But in a way, it's actually nice because some of the junior riders that I had back then are now senior riders. So they know what I expect and they know the standards that I want them to work towards. So in a way, it's been easy. But high performance at underage or senior or world championship young horse level is all similar. The ethos is all there. But no, it's exciting. It's a very different mindset in that it's very much on the breeding of the horse, and you're looking at, do they have a green book initially, and then you're trying to match up. But we've got a lot of really, really nice animals this year, and when you're limited to only 3 6-year-olds, that's going to be difficult. 12 7-year-olds, I think we've got a nice batch of 7-year-olds. And it's just a matter, my job is to get a relationship now with the owners and the riders, that we can convince the owners to keep the horses so that the senior manager can pick championship teams that are successful in the future.
Yeah, it is. As you said, you've spoken about the riders and the building them up, having, been with them juniors and riders, now they're seniors. This young horse, pathway is about, yes, building them that they perform really well in Lyon, hopefully in October, but also that, we can keep them in the country. We want these horses going forward.
Absolutely. And when our funding is dictated so much by Olympic participation, and how we get on in the Olympic Games dictates our future funding. So in a way, I hope I'm going to be helpful in getting the right horses on the pathway going forward, that we can then medal and be competitive at senior championship level. And I think, our horses are ridden by other riders for other countries and they're hugely successful, but it's the same old story. We're a selling nation, and I think it's just networking with owners and just saying that we can keep them in here. And I think there's a mentality in this country that we sell, and we probably overproduce our young horses as 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds. And being a person who brings on young horses as well. I think there's a nurturing that needs to be done, and looking at them as a future as a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old. Our Irish horses are renowned for being late developers. We only see it in racing. The French thoroughbred now coming in because they mature so much earlier than the Irish thoroughbred. So they're hugely popular now, whereas the Irish horses mature a lot later. Yet we want to fast track them as 4-year-olds, and then it's to the detriment. And then we sell the horses on. The future riders maybe don't compete them for a full year and nurture them the way that we should be doing. So it's trying to change the mindset of some of our riders and our owners.
Yeah.
That if we want longevity and to keep this horse for the future, let's just back off them a little bit as 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
Let's start to nurture them, show jump them maybe a little bit as 5-year-olds. And then they start to have the physical strength along with the mental strength to be able to cope with competition.
Yeah.
So it's changing mindsets, but the pathway itself, obviously we start off with the 6 and 7-year-olds, but the Department of Agriculture have come in now and they've obviously got the funding for the 4 and 5-year-olds and the 6-year-olds through the Eventing Ireland events. It's looking at those as well. And I've spent this morning obviously looking at the 4 and 5-year-old class. So that's quite exciting. The 5-year-olds potentially could be my 6-year-olds next year. But the pathway then leads on from Le Lion, for example. And some may be successful and some may not. But that's not that they're forgotten about. It's, right, how can we make them better as a 7-year-old? How can we make them better as a 6-year-old stepping forward? And there's that fabulous class at Blenheim for 8 and 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
And the statistics are something mad that like 87 or 88% of the horses competing in Blenheim 8 and 9-year-olds compete at championship level for teams. So there's that pathway there, and it's giving owners aims to aim for.
Yeah. And I think that
targets to aim for.
That is true, though, about the idea of that, okay, maybe, you know, the 6-year-olds, there's 3 places. It's incredibly tight and it's incredibly difficult to choose those 3. So there are going to be people essentially disappointed, but hopefully you provided them with the training and stuff up until that point that then they can build on.
Well, that's what I'm trying to encourage. And because the funding for this is purely from breeding, it's not so much the training that they're interested in. So I'm relying on owners to self-fund, but I want to encourage them. I would like to set up a training pathway that because I know there's a lot of riders have their own trainers, but there's a lot of producers that don't. Yeah. And if I can get them tapping into some of the high performance coaches, and we have some of the top coaches in the world. Yeah. And I think they're underutilized. And I think if I can set up a program that the owners and the riders are willing to buy into and they see the fruits of that coming forward, I've 3 years to do this, and I totally understand I can't do it in 3 months. Yes. But that's where I'm going long term, is just to put a training program together that makes the stepping stone then up to seniors so much easier. Yeah. And I want to work with a senior manager as well. Yeah. So that, right, this is the pathway. What do you think? Am I doing it right? And we've got to work together.
Yeah. I think that cohesion across the grades has to be there. Yes. And I think, it's exciting, I think, for you, because you've got the few years. It's not just a short, right, I need to get a result here. Yes, obviously, we want you to come home with some prizes.
Absolutely.
But we're super competitive at that level in general. So, you know, we're hoping that, but it's long-term and it's future. I suppose the championships are in October. We have a few months sort of building up to that. What does that look like for both horses, riders, you, and what are you up to kind of in the lead up to it?
The 6-year-olds is always very difficult because some of the 6-year-olds are still only doing EI 100s at the start of the year. Very few are ready to say step up at, well, hardly anyone at Ballindennis, but at Mill Street, there was a few nice 6-year-olds there. The 7-year-olds, their qualification is fairly steep. Yeah. I mean, they have to have a 2-star long, and then they have to be competing at 3-star short level as well. But it's just preparing that. I think the 6-year-old is a lovely class. And I have one senior rider in particular who had a 6-year-old at the Leon last year, and she's openly said, my 7-year-old's not ready for the 7-year-olds. And I appreciate that. Yeah. The 7-year-olds is a big step up, as you know.
Yes.
And it's just being able to work with them to realize, no, let's just leave that 7-year-old and then she'll come out better as an 8-year-old. But at the minute, we've got Liscarvin coming up at the end of the month. So I've got ones ticking off boxes there. And then the British-based Irish riders that I have, they've got right up until Cornbury. So I will be at Cornbury as well to watch, and then again meet up with the owners and whatever there. And then the nominated entries have to be in the Monday after Cornbury. So
the pressure will be on them. There'll be a sleepless night or two, I'm sure. No, but it's exciting. And as you say, building that relationship and building that trust. I've spoken with Simone about it as well from the para equestrian side. And, it's about developing the relationship with the riders, with the owners, so that you're all wanting the same goal, but you have to kind of get on the same page with it and figure that out too.
I have an ethos, Mel, that if you treat people the way you want to be treated, you'll not go far wrong, and keep doing the right things. And I had a very, very good reputation with my underage teams, fairness and transparency. And that's what I'm trying to do with this.
Yeah.
And again, I treat people how I want to be treated. And again, I don't think I'll go too far wrong.
Yeah. Well, look, I think that's the best note to leave this on, Debbie. It's been lovely to chat to you, and we'll be looking forward to following the progress of the young horses over the next year.
Thank you very much, Mel. Thank you.
So I'm joined now by John Kyle, one of probably the most recognisable voices in the equestrian circuit, John. You commentate all around the world, but you're back here in Dublin Horse Show, and it's always kind of a special one, isn't it?
I think people get a little bit surprised how Irish I suddenly sound. I think it comes as a surprise to everyone else in the world that I'm from Wicklow, and then when I come to Dublin, it's like, where did all that come from? Usually that only happens after a couple of Guinnesses.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great social scene as well as a work scene here. I suppose let's start. Have you a standout memory from the horse show over the years?
Yeah, they're usually to do with the Aga Khan. I remember sitting here watching it. It's one of the things, and I say it quite frequently about Kevin Stout. Kevin Stout won the Aga Khan for Ireland one year because he had the rail that meant that Cian didn't have to jump. I wasn't commentating that. Actually, the very first year I was lucky enough to be invited to come here, which 2014, I think, Ireland won. So none the better. So my first 2 classes were the Aga Khan and the Grand Prix. Friday afternoon, Ireland wins, and it's like, great. And the funny old thing was, we've all kind of ridden at Dublin, blah, blah, blah. My niece Tabitha has just come second in the national championship. And I was a very bad rider. Dad dropped me off on the airport this Sunday night after I had done my first Dublin, and he went, "I'm very proud of you." And I'd done Olympics by then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real family affair here. We'll touch on that because obviously your mum Gillian's here in an official capacity, but probably a little bit more special for you is having your niece Tabitha here this year.
It is and it isn't, because we have an awful track record with Tabitha. Whenever my wife Pip and I used to go and watch her on ponies, the odd time we could make it happen, that would be the time the issue went the worst. I think the only time I've announced her previously was at Bolesworth, and I think it was the worst Bolesworth she ever had. So I was terrified this morning that I always do the 5-year-old national championship. She qualified to come through into the final. She didn't have the greatest round in the main ring. I was like, I don't want this girl to hate the main ring of Dublin.
Yeah. We want her to have a good experience here. We want her to keep coming back. And you definitely don't want to be the unlucky child.
No. So double clear in second.
Amazing.
Not too bad. On her father's horse.
Oh, even better results. So I think, yes, she's had great success over the last few weeks, and having her here based in Ireland, I mean, we're very lucky to have her here, and she's based in a lovely, lovely yard. Back to your sort of commentary side of things, you've probably got the best seat in the house. Yeah. Talk us through what that looks like though, because yes, you've got a great seat, but with that comes a bit of pressure and organisation, I'm sure.
It was very different this year because we're in temporary accommodation. They built us a little booth behind the president's stand. But yeah, the preparation we as a team here do the notes for Dublin, and I collate them and make them all uniform. It takes about 2 days at my end, let alone what the boys put into it before. Paul Nolan has the biggest of those jobs. He does all of the Irish. My biggest job during the week then is the 2 national championships I do. I do the 14-2s and I do the 5-year-olds. So all I can do is write down where they qualified, how they did in the 2 days in Dublin, and a couple of other things. But I'm at least doing that because it's information that's available. Like, I mean, be lazy to just sit there and announce who comes in and comes out. So, and the judges, the national judges, are always super helpful. They're always like, oh, they're from County Kilkenny and the barony of Ballymashaughnan.
Yeah, down a little Voreen somewhere. It's great, and you need that. It is a big team effort.
Yeah. You sit there, and if you happen to have seen a fence fall down and you haven't heard the judges say it, it's like 4-3, and they go, "Thank you." It's not them and us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from the different people who I've spoke to around here, from riders to grooms to people working behind the scenes, the team effort is huge in this industry anyway.
I think probably in this year with the Anglesey stand being redeveloped, to have a military man as the equestrian chairman is very good. We came in for a rehearsal meeting last Friday, and I was thinking myself, the message to give to these guys is, let's talk through the plan so that everyone knows the plan. And then if you see a bit of the plan going wrong, you can support each other. And that is exactly the direction then that Colonel Tom Frayne gave. And I was like, yep, that's the right military direction for this.
Yeah, and I guess you bring that experience, having seen different shows around the world, and it's wonderful to have that. I'm sure for him to have you guys as backup. You've touched a little bit on your sort of temporary structure where you guys are, and the stand being gone. There's a little bit of a different feel around the place, but it still has that Dublin magic.
I was so happy when I walked in here on Friday, because I was a little bit worried. And when I walked in here last Friday and I looked around at what they had done so far to try and dress the arena, make it look as nice as possible, I was like, actually, we're on for a really good show. This is going to be nice. It's going to be different, but it's going to be nice. Yeah,
and I think I heard, I suppose from the photographer's side of you and things like that, people saying that, you can see that famous clock tower in the background, which we probably never will see again, I'm guessing.
I had probably, and it might only live in my memory, but probably a great image yesterday. I was watching world ranking jumping class in the main ring play out, and over in the lower grass ring in front of the clock towers, the Pony Club Games, and just that exact moment where they just left the start line, they're close together, but you're starting to see the differences in all the coloured sweatshirts as well, and you just went, yeah.
Yeah, there's magic everywhere, I think, around this place. I guess, your career is broad spanning, and you've been here, there and everywhere. Have you, aside from Dublin, have you another favourite venue you love to go to?
It's kind of depends on the nuance of the question. I mean, some of the indoors are incredible. The Dutch Masters or Jumping Amsterdam are some of my favorites there. Stuttgart is very different as an indoor. I mean, it's a German party show, if you can imagine that. But if you've been to a good German party, Stuttgart is it. The outdoor shows like Aachen or Rome Piazza di Siena, for me it's the most beautiful horse show in the world. It's as historic as Dublin, but it's developed in quite a different way because we went down the stadium route. They are in a UNESCO World Heritage Park. Wellington is amazing. I mean, I'm very, very lucky to be invited a lot to the United States. I'm going to a family show at the Hampton Classic in a couple of weeks, but Wellington is really nice because of the industry focus. They really do a lot to give a very calm production opportunity to the riders, their owners, the trainers, in exchange for just those Saturday nights. So you give us the Saturday night, we will give you the time and the facilities to run a very nice business, look after your owners the rest of the week for those 12 weeks.
Yeah, and I think that's important for the industry as a whole, and we're seeing more and more lots of Irish riders heading over there and basing for the season. Back to the Dublin Horse Show, we've got the Grand Prix this afternoon. You're sitting up there, you've seen lots of riders, brilliant riders around the world. Can you pick the winner?
I'd like to think I could. No, I'm actually very bad at this, but I think Martin Fuchs. I'd love to see Shamie Hughes-Kennedy in there, and Rocky, and Equi Ratings tell me he's incredibly high rated. But Derm and I then had that head and heart chat yesterday. It's like sometimes those big results, pop you up that ELO ranking, and said like James Conn Cruz. James Conn Cruz could come in and win it, but his ELO ranking is still actually based on some of those results 18 months ago now. But then you get into the nitty gritty, and this is where I love challenging Derm a little bit. And he said, yeah, I mean, the ELO rating is if you get in the jump off.
Yeah.
So, and it's what I love about watching a major championship, like where every day counts. To jump clear every day of a show is just an incredible achievement, so to win a gold medal or a title like that, it is just fantastic. So yeah, I think Martin Fuchs, with my head, my heart says Shamie.
Very good. Well, John, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much.
Live from the 2025 Dublin Horse Show, this is the Horse Sport Ireland podcast.
So I'm joined now by Kim, groom for Tom Watchman, who are here at the RDS on the Saturday morning after Aga Khan Nations Cup Day. I suppose, Kim, I think most people, if not all people, will agree that the grooms are sort of like the hidden gems behind all these teams. We see the guys out in the arena jumping the clear rounds, but it's really you guys that a lot of the work goes on behind the scenes. What is it about being a groom that you enjoy the most?
I think about enjoying the most is that we spend like a lot of time with the horses, and obviously when you have the good results in the ring and like you see like the trainings and all the hard work like pays off in that kind of way. So yeah, it's very nice to see the horses jumping well, and obviously this week in Dublin here it's like Tom's home crowd, so it's nice to see it all working out this week, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as you say, for the home crowd for him, and it's been such a big, great show so far for him. Hopefully things will keep going that way for the rest of the week. You do a lot of travelling with these shows. Obviously, this one is pretty close to home, so it hasn't been too big a journey. But when you're heading abroad or heading to any of the shows, I suppose, what are some of the sort of non-negotiables, the things that you insist that have to be the same for these horses to help them jump at their best?
Yeah, we do have a lot of horses like that travel different. So one horse travels very easy. We have some horses that are travel like they're very nervous or they just don't really like it. And we found the best way possible for those horses to see what fit them the most. So like some horses, maybe they lose weight on a trip. So like we can feed them a little bit more in advance, and like some horses really don't mind it, like they're fresh at the stopover. Some horses are like sleeping the whole day. So we actually have all kind of different horses in the stable. But yeah, it's also nicer for us because we work a lot of time with those horses and we all know them very well. So yeah, basically if we travel, we just kind of keep going on like what we would normally do in a week. And yeah, they travel normally in the night, and then in the day we have a stopover. We take them out for a walk, we feed them, we let them rest, and then we just see in the stopover how every horse is. We check their temperatures, we see like if they eat, if they drink, and yeah, that's actually how we do it.
Yeah, so I suppose they're all, you know, they're like humans. Each one has their own characteristics and their traits, and you've got to adapt to that. And with respect to Tom's horses that he has here, are there any sort of quirks that any of them have, or things that you have to pay particular attention to, or are some more needy than others? Talk to us a little bit about their characteristics.
The three horses I have here is Tabasco, Easy, and Hawaii. Easy is actually pretty easygoing, to be honest. Hawaii is actually a lovely mare. Like she loves attention. She likes to be around the people. Like she's very lovely. And yeah, then we have Tabasco. He's one of my most special horses. Actually, the most special horse. I spent a lot of time with him. He also needs a lot of time with one specific person. Like he needs to trust someone, and he's very special. There's not a lot of people around him that can do certain things with him. So if he knows you, if he trusts you, everything is fine. Like me and Tom knows him very well, and we can basically do everything with him. And yeah, he's just actually the only horse that I have that really needs like a lot of attention, really needs a lot of care. Like he loves to be around the people he knows. Yes. So yeah, it's also a bit hard to explain because I know him so well. So some things are not so special for me anymore. But like, by example, he's hard to go on and you need to be careful around his head. And like, if you know him, he's completely fine with it. But yeah, in the beginning, it took me a long time to know all his things. So
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will think about the rider and what they have to do to build the trust, but it really starts with you guys on the ground. You're with them morning, noon and night, and building that trust is so important. And I guess you guys can become a good point of reference for the riders. If you've noticed, you know him so well, so if something's off in the morning, you'll be the first one to see him, you'll be the first one to notice that. Have you any sort of standout moments from grooming, either for Tom or previously? I mean, yesterday was probably pretty special with the Aga Khan and double clear and all of that emotions that go with that. But yeah, some standout moments as a groom.
The best moment would be that Tom rode his World Cup in Ocala and he ended fourth. That was a really nice moment. That was also like one of my first big shows with Tom, and yeah, he just jumped amazing there, ended in the fourth place, and then yesterday here he jumped double clear. Like that was just, it was so nice. Like then you see that all the hard work pays off.
Yeah, I think that is correct. I mean, you get joy from the day-to-day stuff, but getting to see them out on these big stages is pretty special. You're probably going to tell me you don't have one, but have you got a favourite horse that you look after? It's probably like picking a favourite child.
Yeah, a lot of people say they don't have favourites, but my favourite is definitely Tabasco.
An easy answer. Kim, look, thank you so much for chatting with us. We're wishing you the very best of luck, and Tom for the rest of this week and going forward, and we can't wait to see you guys out in the stages again.
Thank you so much.
So I'm joined now by Tom Watchman, a rising star in the show jumping world. You made your Aga Khan debut this week and just jumped a casual double clear in it. How's the week been for you, Tom?
It's been amazing, even from like right from the start. So it was great team spirit and everything, and I was very much looking forward to Friday. That was the main goal of the week, and then when it went well, it was amazing. All the crowd were really behind the Irish riders, and it was special thing to do.
I suppose you have a family steeped in the equine world, but probably more so in the thoroughbred industry. Your grandfather owns Coolmore Stud, but you, I guess, weren't too pushed from what I hear to get into riding in the early days.
Yeah, I liked playing hurling and stuff, and Max was into the horses more so than me. So we went to riding school in Hurlis, Tomas Rounds, and got going then, started doing the bonies and stuff, and then came here on 12-2s and things like that, and then started with Keane when I was 12, 2017, and just got going more seriously then.
Yeah, I guess you got a taste for a little bit of success when the competitive spirit came out in you.
Yeah, I like doing the ponies, but I think it's great experience for the young riders learning to ride that way, and it's competitive and fast and really makes riders, I think.
You've some incredible accolades to your name already, European medals at underage levels, but you've also managed to fit in some studies along the way.
Yeah, I liked school. I studied quite hard in my Leaving Cert and got into commerce in UCD and just finished a degree in May, so happy that it's over, but I enjoyed it all the same.
You won the Speed Stakes on Thursday in the main arena, which must have given you some nice bit of confidence going into the rest of the week.
Yeah, it was cool. The mare is very good. She's only 9. And I was last to go, which was lucky, so I kind of knew exactly what I had to do and came off, luckily enough, just by like 0.14. We got the nose in front. Good crowd there for that class, and he got the ball rolling a little bit for Friday and get the confidence up a little bit, so it was good.
I mean, jumping one clear on the Friday in Aga Khan Nations Cup Day is one thing, but to jump the double clear must have been extra sweet.
Yeah, sure. It's a huge team, like everyone in Carlswood and in all my family and Keane obviously put in so much work to try and get to this. This is like the main goal all year, to try and get there and then to try and do well. But the horse was just really on song. He felt unbelievable, and after the first round I kind of could just enjoy the second round because I didn't think he was doing up one, and I knew that if I just rode him same or just rode him, presented him half alright at the jumps, he was a bit of jumping, so
basically just do what you did. Repeat it.
Enjoy the second round a little bit, but it was a lot of work from everyone else, and my job was just to steer him around there, but it's a big team of people that goes into it, you know, so I was just delighted for everyone.
Yeah, you speak about this incredible team, and it's sort of this common thread that for anyone I've spoken to, you've got Carlswood behind you and incredible plagues, and Cian, you know, everybody knows Cian O'Connor in the world. How vital a role has that been in kind of developing your career so far? Oh,
it's the biggest thing. Like, I think you can, no matter how talented you are, you need at this level anyway, like, I'd say it's 60% the setup and the team and the management of the horse. It's getting them here fit and healthy and sound and riding well and jumping well, and then you have to go in and warm them up nicely and then just go in and ride your plan, and if everything else is done, you know, normally it'll work. But I think even if you have all the talent in the ring, it's hard to get around all the background and the management.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it takes a village essentially, and I guess, you know, we spoke to Kim, your groom, and I guess you put great faith in her as well.
Yeah, she's brilliant, especially with Tabasco. He's very sensitive and stuff, so he's a bit funny with a few things, but she does a good job with him.
I guess looking forward, it's Sunday morning here, looking forward to the Grand Prix this afternoon.
Yeah, we have the speed championship by Hawaii and that, and then the Grand Prix this afternoon, so yeah, we try our best and hopefully it goes all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, Tom, best of luck, and it's been a joy following your career to date.
Thanks very much.
Live from the 2025 Dublin Horse Show, this is the Horse Sport Ireland podcast.
Simone Hession, High Performance Manager for the Para-Equestrian team, joins me now. Simone, you've just stepped into this role as the manager for this year. Talk to me about it. How does it feel to be stepping into such a lovely position?
It was very exciting. Going into it, I obviously had to hit the ground running, so to speak, and, you know, getting to know the athletes, getting to know their support teams, because being paras, they do have a large support team around them that have coaches and riders and parents. So again, I'm very much, I like that side of the job. Coming from a coaching background, I suppose I had to manage myself and change a little bit in my style, in that it's a managerial role as opposed to a coaching role. So that was a challenge for me, but I love a challenge. I like being under pressure and I love being busy. So I just, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a huge part of it, is that these riders come to you with their own teams, and it's being able to guide them and support them without infringing too much on them.
Yeah, and absolutely. And as I was new to the role, I did step into it and I suppose observe first of all. I didn't want to step in and take over because I was well aware that they were all established combinations I was working with. They had their setups in place. They had the experience. So it was managing managing the teams and the riders and the athletes.
Your predecessor, Deborah, she had, built a lovely, strong foundation for you to step into. They had multiple top 10 finishes in Paris last year. It's exciting to step into a role that's kind of, stable like that. And there's a lot of positivity for the future.
I was very lucky because she done an absolutely amazing job. She left everything in tip-top condition. So we ran with that, and there was a huge positivity within the athletes and within all their support teams. They were hugely welcoming to me. And we've worked well together this year, and obviously they've had very good results. And we've enjoyed plenty of success this year, so it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, lots of positivity, which is always exciting for the future.
Yeah.
You've mentioned the difference between the managerial style versus coaching. Like, you're a Horse Sport Ireland level 2 coach and, rider yourself and everything. And obviously there's a difference, but what are some of the sort of skills that you're taking from your coaching and riding side and bringing it into this position?
I suppose it's that understanding. I spoke to all the athletes and their support teams, and I did put across that I do understand from a rider's perspective, I understand from a coach's perspective, and I understand from a parent's perspective. Yeah. So I think that was important for them to understand that I did see it from the various angles that all the support teams are set up in. And I suppose that's the way I went into the role, to gain that, I suppose, for a better word, that relationship and trust between me and the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it all stems from, as you said, I think trust is the wonderful word, because that's what we're putting in the horses when we're riding them, but also that that you're in their corner and you're there to help, or not there as a judgment sort of side of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
I guess you've recently announced your squad for the Europeans in Ermelo in September. There's a nice mix of youth and experience in there.
It's exciting this year because I'm new to the role, but it was very much a development, I suppose, year for us. We have Katie with her new horse. We have Jessica on a new horse as well. And then we have Clodagh, who's very exciting. She's she's the young gun, definitely,
Yeah.
and a very exciting prospect for the future. And then we have Angela, who's been in the sport for many years. So she brings that, I suppose, senior side to the team, which is great. They all get on well together. They're working well together. So it's exciting to head into September to the Europeans.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as you said, that excitement building over the youth coming through, because, you know, you've got to keep building it from the ground up. You know, obviously it's wonderful to have these experienced riders, and you see that across the disciplines, but without the support and the pathways for these younger riders to start getting the experience on the bigger stage, so that when we come to the next Olympics and when we come to the next World Games and things like that, that they're ready for it.
Yeah, and it's interesting watching the various athletes that have been involved this year in the process, because the more senior athletes have a huge respect, and they want the younger riders coming up, they want them to succeed, so that they can continue the success that has been embedded already. So it's brilliant to see those more senior riders support and help the younger riders. And there's very much a team spirit in the paras. And the shows are enjoyable. They're very good in that once they get into the ring, they know that they put their game face on and they do their job. But it's great to see them working together. It's very much a team.
Yeah, and pushing for that same goal. They've got the same goal ahead of them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So I'm joined now by Paddy Gately. Paddy is the International Stable Manager here at the Dublin Horse Show. Paddy, there's a lot of the general public and people who come to the horse show will never see your face. They're not lucky enough maybe to see your face around the place. But if we're really honest, the role that you play around here is so crucial, and what happens so seamlessly wouldn't be the same case without you. Talk to us a little bit about this role.
So basically what happens is it probably all starts back in the show office weeks in advance. The girls get all the entries together, and then probably 2 or 3 weeks before the show, I would constantly get emails, people arriving from different countries, and they want their stallions in the quiet corner. They don't want their mares beside stallions. They want a big box, they want a smaller box, they want high box. It's all the requests keep coming in.
Yeah.
So it all starts 2 or 3 weeks in advance for me, but for the show office, it starts months in advance.
And from horses start arriving here from the kind of Saturday, Sunday before the show.
I arrive here on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And we put the whole team together on Sunday, and then we do the stable plan on Sunday. Go through all my requests. I have all the paperwork here. What we do now this last few years is we put the flags on each stable door. The 8 teams all go together, and then the individual Irish then their names go on the doors. Yeah. And that starts on Sunday, and it takes a whole day really to go through it, because again before we'd be constantly going, change the plan. I'm not bringing this horse, I'm bringing a different horse. I want to go this, I want to go there. That's how that all starts.
Yeah, and I mean down here at the stable yard, like, it's all lovely and calm now, but I can imagine Monday and Tuesday there's not quite as much calm as the Larrys and horse boxes in and out.
The boat normally gets in about 10 to 6, I think it is. So the normally time we get through customs down the port, they arrive here then about 27, and then they'll come in on road. Then we park them up, as you can see. The next crowd will come in again at 1. Next crowd will come in again at Monday evening at 6:30, 27. And then the last crowd will come in then about 27 on Tuesday morning.
Okay.
But by Tuesday morning now, we could have 14 lorries here.
Yeah.
And it's hectic. So then for the rest of the week, then the whole thing just settles down. Everyone's in, everyone's settled. They all have their stables. They got all the requests that they look for, and they're all happy. But then things go on. Then you have the carpenters coming in, fixing stable doors. Horses are kicking doors. Could be a power might go in one of the sockets. You call electricians. The drains have to be kept clean. Yeah. The wash areas have to be kept clean. The plumbers come down and make sure taps are running smoothly. So it all comes, and then we have nice security. We're very strict with security here, wristbands only. A lot of people want to try and get in here to see the international horses, but no, it's wristbands only.
Yeah, I know, and it's a pity. It's a pity in one sense, but these are athletes at the end of the day. They have to be given their quiet time and time to chill out. I guess from your side, what's your favourite part of the week?
When they're all gone. Sunday evening when I'm driving out to get at 9 o'clock.
Oh my goodness. And do you sleep at all, Paddy?
Oh, we do. I know we do. The night security are fantastic. Yeah. FEI Stuart comes on here, and Derek, he looks after the whole thing. Yeah. He's very good. He always says, Paddy, I promise you I won't call you. If I call you, if there's something major going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I do. I do get it.
I think that's a huge, and you can sense that from kind of around the show, it's a huge team effort, and everyone's really pulling on their end so that they can help someone else out. Well, Paddy, look, thank you so much for chatting to us. It's great to get a little behind the scenes, and as I say, for most of the public, they'll never get to see your face, but if they do, it's a smiley one.
It's a smiley one, that's good.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
So joined now by Cathal Daniels. Cathal, over the years, people probably would be more familiar with seeing your name on the eventing international scene, but you've been appearing in the prizes on the show jumping circuit a lot more. You're clearly enjoying it.
Yeah, for sure. The eventing is a great sport. I thoroughly enjoy it, and I still have some very nice event horses. Still trying to be as competitive at the eventing as possible, but also I really enjoy the show jumping aspect, and I'm lucky enough to have a nice team of horses that have been competitive this year and end of last year, and hopefully build on that. And look, I have 3 horses here this week, which I'm very, very happy with. So yeah, it's something I want to continue on if I can.
Yeah, and it's funny, it's something that's becoming a little bit more popular. Like we see the likes of Michael Young, we see Sandra Aufarth here this week, both, you know, elite athletes in both spheres. It's interesting. How do you manage the timings of it and juggling, you know, preparing essentially different athletes for different sports?
Yeah, it's logistically it is challenging. Like everything, big weekends, big shows clash. There has to be a decision of who goes where. So yeah, it's months in advance of planning, and obviously with horses plans change, so that can be even more of a nightmare. But yeah, look, I'm lucky enough to have horses that are at a high enough level in both sports, which is challenging but very rewarding. Also, it's something I really enjoy, but comes with its challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think listeners may not be aware that, you know, in order to get here, you followed this Plus Vital Premier Series, and that's how you got your route in. But at one of the last shows, you evented in the morning and show jumped in the afternoon. Thankfully, both shows weren't too far from each other, but like that must put a huge major pressure on you on those days.
Yeah, for those 2 shows in particular, it was touch and go whether it would work. But as you said, like geographically, they were actually in a general same location. So I was eventing in Clonmahon in the morning, was 3rd in the Open Intermediate, and then I was jumping the Plus Vital Premier Grand Prix at, I think it was 3:30 that evening. So it mightn't have worked, but on the day it worked, and it was well worth it, because yeah, I sealed my ticket into the 5-star.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you obviously followed that series, and this was obviously the aim, to get to the show, I'm guessing.
Yeah, for like at the start of the year, it's a dream more than an aim. It's there's 2 spots, and there's a lot of riders, horse rider combinations that are very strong, very competitive, and have more experience than I do to try and get it. But yeah, we had a good series. I actually missed Mullingar. I jumped the first week of Mullingar International, but the second week clashed with Mill Street International eventing. So I was eventing in Mill Street. So when I missed the International, the Plus Vital Premier Series in Mullingar, I thought it dashed my dream to Dublin, but I was lucky enough to bounce back in Balmoral and Tats and to get my place. So yeah, it worked out. I was very pleased.
Yeah, absolutely. It was worth the sacrifices here and there. Dublin Horse Show is iconic. Obviously, you've competed at it through young event horses and small event horses and stuff like that, but this is the first time in the international stabling and the international side of things. How was it cantering into that main arena?
I've competed at the small event horse, the young event horse series through the last few years. I jumped the 5-year-olds last year, but yeah, as you said, this is my first year in the internationals. That's a different gravy. The atmosphere, like, you can feel it, the horse can feel it. It's yeah, it's something that I really enjoy, but it's yeah, it's another step up in my career and my horse's career. So hopefully it's the first of many.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you haven't come here to just make up the numbers. You had a win in the 6-year-old class earlier in the week. Tell us a little bit about your horse that you had in that.
Yeah, so in the 6-year-olds, I had the Tullybar's Pandora. She's a mare by Benny's Legacy. She jumped here last year. In the 5-year-olds, very, very competitive horse and fast in the jump off. So I was able to win the qualifier, and she jumps the final now on Sunday, tomorrow morning. So looking forward to that. I think if we're in the jump off, we can be very competitive.
And you think she'll be okay in the atmosphere and everything in that main arena? Obviously, it is a step up from Simmons Court into...
Yeah, we had our first day jumping in the main arena, which was nice to dip the toe in, get them in there and familiarise them with the arena. So I think tomorrow she can be even more on the ball and a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, absolutely. We can't move on or can't continue without talking about CDS Capog Tommy, the horse who jumped through the Premier Series. He's in good form this week? Yeah,
really good form. We had a nice jump in the 145 earlier in the week, and I jumped the small Grand Prix with him later today. Yeah, very special horse for me. I bought him. He was relatively inexperienced. I don't think he had much of anything competition-wise done. And he's the kind of horse I evented him in the beginning, and I decided he was more suited to the jumping. Wasn't a bad eventer, but I think he was more suited to the jumping. And he's the horse a lot of first. I jumped my first 4-star Grand Prix, put him in Sunshine Tour at the start of this year. First probably Premier Series, probably first National Grand Prix if I'm thinking about it. So first 5-star. So very special horse. And I think there's a lot more to come. I think he's just starting to settle into it.
Yeah, a lovely journey so far, but not finished yet. I suppose looking forward for the autumn season, eventing and show jumping, where are we going to be seeing your name and your horses?
Yeah, it's probably still quite busy. I think after Dublin, the jumpers will have a little bit of an easier few weeks. I think it's maybe 2 weeks, and then Breeders' Classic comes up quite quickly. And then, like I said, I have 6 going to Liscarvin International next week. And then to look forward in the eventing, we have Blenheim 8-9-year-olds. I have an 8-year-old Shannondale Micah that I think could be very competitive there. And all going well, he'll go to Buccleuch Nations Cup, and I might have another horse to join in Buccleuch Nations Cup. And with the jumpers, we might go abroad then, going into the winter. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, gosh, I'm tired listening to it, so I can only imagine what you guys are doing on the road, but it's paying dividends, and you're having a great season. Cathal, best of luck for the rest of the weekend and for the rest of the season.
Thanks very much.
Live from the 2025 Dublin Horse Show, this is the Horse Sport Ireland podcast.
Joined now by Alan Wade, one of the most probably respected course designers in the show jumping world. You're building here at the Dublin Horse Show, Alan. But take me back a little bit. You've been involved in course design for a number of years now. What originally drew you to that side of the sport?
Well, my father was heavily involved in show jumping. He won the Grand Prix in Dublin here a couple of times and the Nations Cup, and then he was chef de keep for many years with the Irish team and very successful. I was born into horses, and we also had race horses as well as show jumpers, and it just led going around helping at the local shows. All shows need volunteers, and it was easy to get a job picking up hope.
Absolutely, you kind of stumbled into it. Yes. So I guess, have you some memorable moments from your just courses that you've designed or events that you've worked on?
Yes, well, down through the years I've done all sorts of classes in all different countries, and I suppose the memorable moments would be in design in Dublin the first time. 2009 was the highlight in my career, and that's what I aimed for. And once I had done that, I felt I had achieved what I had sort of aimed for. And then I was honoured then to be asked to do the World Cup finals in Oma in 2017, and again then to do the World Championships in Tryon. It was a great honour to be even asked, and I'm grateful for the chance to show my skills in other countries. They were very good to me. And back here in Ireland, they used to enjoy the local gymkhanas and Dublin qualifiers down in Care, and the local shows too, but I've moved on.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess that those local shows, they're where all these big riders start, so I guess you've kind of been able to follow them through their careers.
Yes, it's a very important training ground for horses and young horses. They learnt a lot out in grass fields. It was a good experience for them, and they learnt a lot at the local gymkhanas.
Yeah, absolutely, and I guess that highlights another aspect of it. Course designing in these beautifully manicured sand arenas versus course designing in the grass arena like we have here in Dublin. There's obviously a difference in your approach, I'm guessing.
Well, you'd be hoping that the ground would be of better quality as an international show. Sometimes you had to cope with poor ground or more hilly arenas and that, and you had to learn quickly how to cope with them and how to make them the easiest they could be to ride for the competitions.
How has course designing changed over your career? Like, obviously there's, riding style of different riders that's been changing. How does that influence, has it influenced your work?
Well, no, I was taught my principles by my father years ago, when he used to design an Holy Cross show, among the other shows as well. That time there was no safety cups, and that was probably the biggest step forward in terms of course design, with safety cups and the back rails of opposites. Material has got lighter. As a result, sometimes I do like to add sort of a more bulky item to fillers and use fillers. You could say you can watch a lot of shows now and it's just three poles or three elements. So I do try and, as you see here with the fences in the RDS, most of them has been designed by myself and my wife, who are under an Irish team with something that relates to Ireland. The modern fence is a lot lighter than the older one, without doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess maybe for the better, for horse welfare, etc. What's it like designing for the Dublin Horse Show? Like, it's a home show for you. Does that bring extra pressure? Does it bring extra pride?
When I get tuned in about a week beforehand with my pencil, I'm just basing it on the arena and where I put the water jumping, the different types of classes, and just try and get pencil drawings for everything. And you have to be flexible with any arena. Sometimes then when we put it into computer, scales, drawings, it looks good, but when I lay it out on the ground, there might be something I don't like. So you have to still have a degree of flexibility. And plus with 5 days jumping as each day goes along, there's some of the ground that you won't go and jump on it again, so that you have to try and keep fresh ground for Sunday as well at times. But there's a lot of things going on here. You had the hunters yesterday morning galloping around. Then you have the young event horses competitions and national classes. This arena takes a lot of traffic in the week.
Yeah, and I guess talk us through how much work goes into that maintenance of the arena. I know it's slightly outside of maybe your remit as far as the course builder, but I'm guessing you're involved with it.
Yes, it was completely redone. There was a big cost last year after the show, and the fact that there's building the new stands, there has been nothing on it since the show last year, so that gave the arena a chance to grow and be in tip-top condition for this year.
Yeah, and as you've mentioned, and it's been a common theme throughout different interviews this week, that, you know, the RDS does look slightly different, the arena is slightly different. Does that change things for you a little bit when you were thinking of designing your courses?
No, I'm just a field of play. My focus is completely what is in the ring and what happens in the ring. I do note where TV screens are sat in certain arenas or sitting at the outskirts, but like that's someone else's job to, I just try and focus on what's in the ring, the fences, and where I put them.
Yeah, and I guess the horses don't know that the stand is missing, so the horses and riders are your main focus. The Aga Khan Nations Cup is such an iconic part of the show. Obviously, we had Team Ireland finishing third in that on Friday. How do you approach designing a course for something in a team competition versus the individual, let's say the Grand Prix and the speed stakes and all those sort of things? How does the respective change on that one?
Well, a team competition is a team competition, and the big difference I see is that they have to do 2 full rounds on the day, with the possibility of a jump off, but definitely 2 full rounds. So whereas in a Grand Prix they come in and they'll jump 13, 14 fences, they go out, they have a break, and then you'll have a jump off of 6, 7 fences. And you're riding for yourself and you're riding for your country. I believe it puts a different pressure on the rider, good pressure.
Yeah.
As you saw on Friday, there was pressure on a lot of riders and they all rose to the occasion.
Yeah.
But it's exciting that way. But I do enjoy team jumping and I do enjoy building. But again, it's a fine line. You're trying to respect some of the other horses that are other teams that maybe not up to the level that some of the teams are. Mm-hmm. And you're trying to give them a good experience and still be true to the Aga Khan in Dublin is the most important day of show jumping in Ireland in the year.
Yeah.
That's without doubt. It has been. I was brought up on Friday in Dublin. My father was always, it was more important than the Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess you touched on it there a little bit. How much does the list of competitors that are in the class dictate your designing of the courses? Obviously, it's not that you're going to favour one or the other, but do you take that into play?
My designs are basically simple. My lines, I like simple lines. I like to keep the test in front of the rider. Mm-hmm. I don't try and do anything my basic principle, if it flows on the paper with my pencil, it'll be easy write. Yeah. So I try and transfer that over into the courses. So where it changes is the little centimeters of both height and spread that you would put on or could take off, or little extra centimeters you add to distance or take off. to make it a little easier sometimes than to have her through difficult tests and then to soften it back. But it's not an exact science.
Yeah.
So you always, as you say, favour a decided horse. If you thought something was a little wide or something, you take a few centimetres off. And you're looking for good sport and you're looking to be fair to the horse too.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess one last thing before I leave you go. Predictions for this afternoon's Grand Prix. Have you got a number in your mind of clears that you'd be happy with, or are you hoping it goes to jump off? What do you hope for on a day like this?
I never do numbers because if I do numbers, I'd be wrong every day while horse designing, and I get enough front things wrong. I don't need to be reinforced.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to. It's a 5-star course. So, I'm looking forward to a good competition. I hope all the horses and riders are safe after the competition.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the best horse athlete will be at the top of the list at the end of the afternoon.
Alan, thank you so much for chatting us today. It's been lovely to get an insight on a different sort of side of the Dublin Horse Show this week.
Live from the 2025 Dublin Horse Show, this is the Horse Sport Ireland podcast.
Laura Crowd, after winning the RDS Grand Prix of Dublin, she's something else, isn't she?
Sure, Biscotta is amazing. I mean, what an athlete. And the best part about it is she did it pretty easily. I mean, I think I never felt a struggle. She just was focused, and she was everything you'd want in a Grand Prix horse today.
She jumped a couple of Nations Cups, but you purposely kept her for this?
I did. I've been jumping her in Nations Cups, and I really thought I wanted to aim for her to just jump the Grand Prix here in Dublin with the idea in mind that maybe I could win it. And it happened.
Did that make a difference, the fact that she didn't jump in the Nations Cup on Friday? Because a lot of the ones who did jump so well on Friday kind of seemed to be tired or struggle, but she was nice and fresh. And she seems to be finding more and more scope.
She does. I mean, it's like the more she does it, the more confidence she has. And then it's easy for her. I mean, I think she could jump the Nations Cup and the Grand Prix, but I've been doing a lot with her, so I really wanted her. I jumped 2 1-meter-45 classes this week just to give her a trip around, and then aimed at this. And like I said, when I walked earlier, I thought, oh, wow, I think I made a mistake because it was really difficult, but she handled it.
And like you say, as people went around and it was 4 and 4 and 8 and everything, was it a case of nearly riding it on its merits then, as opposed to what you walked, or how did it play out?
Well, I stuck with the exact plan I had when I walked. But I will say I was fortunate to get to study and watch a lot. I mean, I think that was a definite advantage.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that really was solidified for me was from the vertical up on the far end to the triple bar. I wasn't going to count a stride. I was just going to ride that off my eye. And I actually changed my mind.
You had 6, I think, did you?
No, I had 8. But 8 was the least you could do.
I'm thinking of
that worked. Robert Ridland said, I think you need to have a number there. And I said, no, I don't want a number. But in the end, I did.
For the armchair fan, last one, sorry. I got a couple of messages during the week about that Laura Crouch. She's always talking to the horse during the round. It seems to be a bit of a thing. It's just the experience of everything, I suppose, and how you ride it. It works.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of my career, I've had very sensitive horses, so I've sort of relied on my voice to help calm them or make them focus. Or actually, Pelly calms me. I don't know what it is, but anyways, we have conversations.
Either way, champion of Dublin, congratulations.
Thanks for listening to the Horse Sport Ireland Dublin Horse Show special. This episode of the Horse Sport Ireland podcast was brought to you by the Equine Warehouse, Ireland's #1 equestrian retailer, home of top equestrian brands with best prices on riding equipment, horse rugs and supplements. We'll speak to you again with a new episode next month. If you would like to find out more about what we've covered in this episode, you'll find notes, links and more in the description area of this podcast. Do remember to press follow for our show so you can get the next episode automatically. And do share it with a friend with an interest in the industry. Just tell them to search Horse Sport Ireland on their podcast app. Our podcast today was produced by dustpod.io and brought to you by horsesportireland.ie.